In September, we saw the path of Irma. It didn't really hit Puerto Rico that hard, but it did hit the Virgin Islands really hard. So I felt a need to do something about it. And you know, just thinking about things, I contacted John Rose and told him that there might be a need for Waves for Water.
Waves for Water is a humanitarian aid organization that provides access to clean drinking water for developing communities around the world. At this point, I mean, we're 8 years in as an organization. I think Irma was number 25 or something that we had responded to since I started the organization in 2009. There's not much unknowns for us when it comes to disaster response.
I got a call from John Rose who was like, hey Rob, we're gonna respond to Irma. We're looking at the damage as it's starting to sweep through. So we are gonna respond, we're getting a team together, and that's where it kind of started.
A super cool team of people came together: Dylan Graves, Jimmy Wilson, Rob McQueen, John Rose, Ben Bourgeois, Pierre Louis.
At the very first get-go, it was just get to St. Croix. And the reason why we chose St. Croix was because it was the only island that was unscathed by Irma. It still had comms, it still had infrastructure.
It took us about 24 hours to get situated, get all of our equipment that had been pushed down about 3 days ahead of us, and then start our initial strike. So the first strike, Otto, Jimmy, Ben, and John, and Fritz jumped on a seaplane, and they took that seaplane into St. Thomas. And St. Thomas at the time was probably the worst hit of anything. So we had a large crew going there. And then Dylan Graves and myself linked up with the Cruisian Navy, amazing guy by the name of Charlemagne, and jumped on a speedboat and took the speedboat for an hour and a half one way, Pirates of the Caribbean style, from St. Croix over to St. John to link up with a network that we'd established on St. John to start getting systems into St. John and start standing that up.
Like I said before, I've done over 20 of these. This was the first one I felt like, God damn, this is working good. Then Mother Nature threw us a curveball.
We are monitoring 2 hurricanes this afternoon.
Right now, a Category 5 storm makes its way toward the Virgin Islands.
We look at the maps and we see that Maria's literally showing its teeth.
It was so rapid how fast it moved into a severe storm. And I know that that can happen, but all of us were shocked. And you're talking about Caribbean hurricane veterans who study these things for the surf that they provide.
This system carries it very close to St. Croix, could put them in that eye wall, in that front right quadrant where you do not want to be.
It looked like it was going to hit St. Croix and then square off on Puerto Rico.
Then Puerto Rico as a Category 4 storm, 125 to 150 mile-per-hour winds.
I remember vividly that Monday, we sat for breakfast with the crew, and I got everybody's attention, and I told them that I was going to make a phone call, that I was going to pick up that red phone that I never picked up, that I wanted a plane or a helicopter to come pick me up, and the general consensus was like who was coming with me and who was staying on island.
Otto made the decision at breakfast like, hey, I have to get back to my family. And we all understood it. His family's on Puerto Rico. Maria's gonna hit it. We know that's gonna happen. So John, Fritz, and myself got together and came up with like, hey, what is this gonna look like for our response?
Ben, Fritz, myself, and Jimmy were gonna stay on St. Croix. Otto, Dylan, and Rob were gonna head to Puerto Rico.
At that point, Jorge gives us a call and said, hey, I hear you need a plane. I've got a plane coming for you.
It was pretty insane because the guys kept calling me, Jorge, are they gonna pick us up? They're gonna pick us up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Most important I've ever felt in my life. There's our ride.
It doesn't even turn the engine all the way off. Like we hot load this little plane, throw our bags on, and then just turn and burn and took right off.
Here in San Juan, winds are starting to pick up, probably about 30 miles an hour, nothing big. But it's eerily quiet. Nobody's out and about, whole town's on lockdown. Everyone's prepared and a little scared for what they're predicting to be a huge impact on this island. So we're here, ready to go to work, and we'll see how the next 12 hours work through us.
I'm used to being in combat, where it's like, hey, explosions happen, gunfire comes in, takes a second, you get your bearings, but then you can kind of start to establish control over the situation. In a hurricane, you're just reacting to what happens and hoping that you can make it through it. I hope I picked the right spot to be when this thing comes through.
Yeah, we have a sliding glass door here. So we took one of the beds apart, put the mattress up against the sliding glass door, and then reinforced that with the bed frame, a dresser, and a cooler. And we also have 2 surfboards here for flotations, ready to go if we need them, hopefully not. And 1 bed for all 4 of us to sleep in.
My brain could comprehend what it must be like by seeing the destruction it causes so much, but I'd never gone through it.
All right, third update. Winds have picked up a lot since our last one. We moved into our second room. Our first room started having a lot of water come in, and you can just tell it's getting a lot more wind on the northeast side of the building. So good.
Probably like over 100 miles an hour at least.
It is very scary. The wind with the noises going all around you. But like we are safe.
It was really interesting to see, you know, solid trees bend like twigs.
We're watching the road start to flood. I'm just sitting there going, like, I've never seen such an intense, like, I felt like just a glass house with the world ending around me.
Right now we are in the downstairs floor of the hotel, and look at the damage. Whoa. Did you hear that?
Oh my God.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
Holy shit. We're there in those places very quick, probably within 1 to 3 days after these things hit, but still being there the hour after it hits or the next 6 hours, it's a surreal feeling.
So the roof flew off of the first building in Colony Cove, and that must be a piece of it.
What?
Holy shit.
Blasted through the wood?
Wow, that looks like that came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this little area we're in actually looks really good compared to some of the places we saw driving in here. We're just completely torn to pieces, everything. Trees, roofs, cars upside down, everything you could imagine, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like Armageddon. It felt like Puerto Rico had gotten the life sucked out of it. I mean, trees, it was just a hard one to swallow.
We went out, grabbed a vehicle, and then like made our way through what was just insanity. I mean, every single tree you saw was down, windows blown out, apartments blown out.
Look at my parents' bed, and look at my bed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jack,
don't come through, man. You're good.
Well, that's why we're here.
And then we just got to work.
We've used a simple 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot, which we had a pretty good supply of. And then we use a Sawyer 0.1 micron water filter. So it's a hollow membrane filter that works off the same technology as dialysis. What's cool about this filter is it's totally gravity fed. There's no cartridges to replace, and all you have to do is back flush it with filtered water to maintain it and keep it clean. So what this can do is the flow rate is high enough to provide water to 100 people per day. So in this immediate phase 1, we looked for local leaders in a position to provide that water to a group of houses, to a community.
The first thing that we did as soon as the hurricane passed by was immediate relief of those in need that needed water, tomorrow. Then we started working on the second phase, which was looking at, the broken down infrastructure, and we were looking at communities that are not connected to the main water system.
What we do physically is build a cistern and put quantity of filters, and that way multiple people from the community identify these water depots.
I saw the program, I saw how it worked, I saw the reaction of the community. At that moment I was like, guys, you can count on me like every day for this.
So when we started giving out the filters, I mean, one thing that impacted me was the reaction of the people. A lot of them had no water. So the filters was a lifesaver for them.
There's an iconic moment in this whole deal where I'm standing on a road that plummeted down a hill, and all I could see is somebody's life just kind of swept away. It was really invigorating to have a solution in our hands. Puerto Rico got the life sucked out of it, but it triggered this, like, it's up to me or up to us as a community to give it life back.
While Puerto Rico started to become a main effort because of the amount of people that were on there, we still had to stay true and not forget the islands that we originally came down to help.
You get one plug per apartment or one double plug thing. So that's connected directly to the building generator. So it's been almost 6 months after the passing of Hurricane Maria, and we're still dealing with, with some difficulties, including losing power all of a sudden. And like today, today is March the 1st, yes. The whole north side of the island lost power, and we're not sure when we're gonna get it back.
What we really are is a mechanism to bring the solutions that exist and put them into the hands of the people who need them the right way. And when I say the right way, I mean sustainably.
To this day, we're still distributing the buckets with the filters wherever they're needed. We're still implementing the cisterns.
And then we're going to transition more into sustainability, connecting with sustainable agriculture and building rain catchment systems. We've worked with Tesla to help support some non-standard wells and getting those off the grid. What Puerto Rico gave me was this amazing feeling of hope. I started to see people in the worst scenario where every system they'd relied on had failed them. And all they were left with was themselves. And they didn't sit down, they didn't put their hand out. They looked at each other, they relied on their neighbors, and everybody came together in this just demonstration of humanity. It helped me remember who I am as a person. And it really helped me kind of reconnect with a love for humanity that I think I'd lost. As we look at CHRI, which is the Caribbean Hurricane Relief Initiative, right now we have nearly 2,500 systems out in the Virgin Islands alone. So that's spread between St. John, St. Thomas, Virgin Gorda, Yost Van Dyke. And then on Puerto Rico, we have nearly 7,000 systems on the island. Waves for Waters found a home in the Caribbean.
I must thank you all for that wonderful job you all are doing. I wish I could have joined you all in this venture. It's wonderful for me because every day is this I drink off.